You're listening to Radio Mayapur with the best devotional, meditation, kirtan music, and inspirational podcast. This is Radio Mayapur.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Gangadas, your host, and today we are very blissful to receive Kripanidhi Prabhu to our Radio Mayapur. It's also a very auspicious day. It's Bhayami Ekadasi. Anybody who follow this Ekadasi or hear about the pastime of this Ekadasi can go back to the Lord. So a very auspicious day. And today was quite warm, I should say. In the last few days it was cold, but then certainly from one day to another, it started to become 22 degrees in the night and 33 degrees in the day. So welcome to the tropical weather, which we like it. Yes. So Kripanidhi Prabhu was born in Guyana and near Venezuela on the 24th December 1950. He studied in Toronto and then eventually met the devotee Srila Prabhupada in 1972. Tell us a little bit. Welcome, Kripanidhi Prabhu.
Thanks. Thank you.
To Radio Mayapur. Tell us a little bit in short about your family and what was your situation before you come to Krishna consciousness.
Oh, well, I grew up in Guyana. My family had a business, import-export. Of course, in these kind of families where there's a bit of money, a lot of alcohol and all kinds of Kali Yuga going on. So it wasn't a very happy childhood.
Okay.
And then I eventually emigrated to Canada when I was about 15 years old.
By yourself?
With my mom and her husband was my stepdad.
Okay, nice.
So
you have brothers and sisters?
I have a full sister and then a couple of half sisters.
Okay.
Yeah, the usual Western situation.
But Canada was totally different ball game compared to Guyana, I believe so.
Yeah, like I would notice a lot of more structure, more regimented things, more laws,
More discipline, in other words.
Yeah, materially, and a lot more materialistic in general. Less, I would say, less of piety in people in the kind of very advanced, materially advanced countries like this, first world countries. So I was kind of searching for something different.
Yeah, something deeper in life. You are a seeker of the truth in some way.
Well, at that time there was in the 60s when I was a teenager, there was a lot of you're just watching the news and it's about the Vietnam War, it's about civil rights in America. Yeah. It was kind of a tiny place, so
a lot of disappointment,
tiny population. So there's a lot of turmoil going on in the 60s. And I got involved with the youth, the kind of revolutionary movement, as you might say, with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and all these guys looking for something different, saying, I can't get any satisfaction. I got a nice home, I drive a Ferrari, but I got no satisfaction.
I can't get no satisfaction.
Yeah, it's true. They're like
I cry. It's still crying, the guy, yeah?
Yeah, so a lot of us kids were rebelling against the status quo.
Of course.
Which is, economic advancement, material advancement.
But I believe you saw a little bit your future. Say, okay, I'm going to study, I'm going to get a job, I'm going to get married, I'm going to have the kids, I'm going to become old, I'm going to die. What's the use of all these things? Am I correct?
Yeah, I was disillusioned and I didn't want to get involved in the status quo as it was.
Tell us how you come in contact with Krishna conscious or devotees or whatever. Who was the first people you saw?
Yeah, I met in different rock concerts. I used to go to rock concerts, hippie kind of culture. Sure. So devotees give me prasadam in different places in New York State. There was a festival there. Then in Canada, some big festivals with all these famous bands.
Singers, Santana, Pink Floyd,
all these guys, Jefferson Airplane, all these guys. The whole thing was going on.
Yeah, of course.
So devotees were there. Devotees had kind of been part of this whole movement the far left, as they call it. And I'd get prasadam, I'd buy a Bhakti Godhead.
Wow.
Didn't read it.
Okay.
But,
At least you touch it.
I related with them, and they'd preach to me and I didn't understand. You're not the body. What does that mean, And I touched them. But then after a while, I guess the prasadam purified me.
Powerful.
Very powerful.
Very
and
powerful.
I started looking into, far out books. Baba Das had a book called Be Here Now, which I read. I'd go to different yogis. There's many yogis coming out of India at the time.
Yes.
Maharishi Yogi, Rajneesh, Guru Maharaji, all these guys. But when I went to see them, the Maharishi people, they were kind of preaching like, if you do this mantra, then you'll be materially successful. And that wasn't my interest because
you blow your bubble.
Because in these countries you can be a plumber or a carpenter and make lots of money.
Sure.
So wasn't my aspiration. I think I was looking for moksha. Dharma,
Liberation.
karma, dharma, artha, karma, moksha.
I mean, so much suffering in the material world, and then you are looking for some way to escape the suffering.
Yeah, like you could see that the American dream, so to speak, there was so much, it was riddled with misery and unhappiness and divorces and social, the social fabric wasn't good. So, you're trying to find something different. And that was the message of people like Bob Dylan, the Beatles, and these guys. So we were following them. They were our heroes or our mentors. So then I became a vegetarian before I joined, and I eventually went to the temple in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, nice.
And that was it. I was actually chanting Hare Krishna before I moved into the temple. There was a list of mantras on this book by Baba Das, Om Mani Padme Om, and so on. So Hare Krishna mantra, I was naturally attracted to, and I would chant Hare Krishna, although I was still a hippie.
Sure.
And then somehow Krishna, guides us from within. So he's guiding me from within. And
was there any devotee who preached to you, who attracted you, or you look after? Was your mentor or somebody?
Before I moved?
No, when you're moving into the temple.
Once I moved in, there are all groups of devotees like myself. The temple president at the time was Mahatma Das.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was the president up there. He from California, but he, went up the highway.
Yeah.
And then, so every day we'd be on the streets chanting with Mahatma Prabhu.
Nice.
And, we'd feel this ecstasy and bliss. That was the first thing. You'd feel ecstasy and bliss,
Stay high forever.
Yeah.
That's
And we realized that this is a very bona fide thing. At least I did. I realized, wow, this is serious. And I immediately started distributing Bhakti Godheads to people. And, I was like, yeah, this is it. This is what we really need, or what I was looking for. I was really searching. People are always telling me, you're looking for something. All my friends, you're looking for something. Looking for Krishna. So then we drove down to Portland, Oregon in June of 1972. The temple was very small. Those days we were just rentals.
Yes.
Old houses. And Danavir Prabhu at the time was president. And so we'd go out and do Harinam, we'd get arrested. And the judge would throw it out of court, what are you doing? It's religious. But Prabhupada was very annoyed by the harassment. He was giving class on Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. I think it was chapter 8 or 10 about Krishna going back to Dwarka from Hastinapur. Beautiful purports, all social commentary, political science about what a king is like. And during the reign of Maharaj Yudhisthira, everything was flowing nicely, a lot of harmony with Mother Nature. People were very happy. The cows were protected, all that area. So Prabhupada was speaking every day and blasting the politicians, the leaders, like, what are they doing? They think they're so advanced. Maharaj Yudhisthira would eat off of gold and then throw it in the streets. He'd speak like this.
Yes.
And he'd talk about how the politicians are unqualified, that the worst of human society, they float up to the top. and control the governments. And so people are under suppressed and exploited. So Prabhupada gave a series like this, and was very, amazing, his speaking. But he was also emphasizing that you like to go on Harinam for 8 hours a day. That's how the movement was going. Very few big books were being distributed. And we had a burning desire. When you meet Srila Prabhupada, when you see him, you see this great personality, especially if you're chanting and doing morning sadhana, you're just getting into the Krishna conscious sadhana bhakti. Krishna really gives you the vision. This is a great, powerful person, although extremely humble and tolerant. And so he kept emphasizing, I want you to distribute my big books at that time, because it was mainly BTGs, and we're trying to crack the safe. How do you get someone in the street to buy
a big
book? We had no idea.
Mission Impossible.
Exactly. So we were, really racking our brains and trying to find out anxiously how to crack this thing. Slowly but surely, we heard about a person called Bhakta Tom, who eventually in San Jose, who eventually became Tripurari Maharaj, or Tripurari at the time, and he was expert. So we would go down to California and watch him, and he was just he had a lot of power and focus, and he was just he had the kind of guna and karma, the qualities. So then we book distribution opened up, and then I think the first big Christmas marathon, I think was 72 December, and things just exploded because of this. Suddenly we learned the art. It's not that you just don't preach to people for 20 minutes and then they go away after arguing with you, but you make sure they get Prabhupada, they touch Prabhupada. It's just Prabhupada, the book, and powerful. Prabhupada, it's absolute, Prabhupada's words are embellished with the dust from Krishna's lotus feet. He said that Krishna is writing these books, so extremely powerful. And we saw that throughout the 70s and early 80s, how people would just read Srila Prabhupada's books and become devotees. So it was kind of a wave of Krishna consciousness taking over America at that time. America, when I say America, I mean Canada, Australia, and Western Europe, Italy, France, all these places. Not so much happening. Of course, Prabhupada did go to Africa and he went to South America, but certainly the industrialized countries where people were experiencing a lot of frustration and following people like the Beatles and so on. So they call it the radical left is what they were called by different people. The radical left. So that's how I joined, and then for some reason I really got into book distribution, street book distribution. That's what I did. We would travel all over the place. Of course, got arrested a lot.
But you were not afraid.
No.
Because you know that you're doing the right things. You're not doing any illegal, you're not doing any, bad things which people can blame or police or legally.
No. We knew that there was a lot of hostility from Christian groups and Jewish groups, Jewish rabbis and so on. So, of course, Prabhupada says that the fact that there's some opposition means they're feeling the weight of our preaching. He said that in the States. There's a lot of backlash, you might say, because we were converting people every day into Krishna consciousness. You can say. And then, of course, there were many people who didn't even join, but they're devotees to this day. I know many of my very good friends who never took initiation. They were a little bit hesitant, but they're devotees, They're devotees.
Yes.
They weren't ready to take the dive. So the movement was just... And then books were starting to be written. Scholars, Stilson Judah from UCLA, Berkeley, Harvey Cox from Harvard. These are big scholars who
wrote a review on Bhagavad Gita and others.
Yeah, and also they give advice to the president of the U.S. or city ambassador of Canada. He really liked the Hare Krishna movement when he was in India. This gentleman really liked the Hare Krishnas. So these scholars were amazed at these really radical people who were doing drugs and so on. The whole wild hippie thing. They were actually, this person was able to convert them diametrically opposite. No illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, no meat. Well, a lot of us were vegetarian.
Already, yes.
But the other stuff was part of our culture. Just free love and intoxication. And, it was very miserable, actually.
I guess you got a taste, higher taste, Prabhupada saying. You
Much
cannot
higher.
give up lower tastes unless you have higher tastes. And so those people who are sincerely seeking the truth and try to practice Krishna consciousness and chanting the holy name and doing the service for the Lord, for the pleasure of Prabhupada and Krishna, you can feel the pleasure in your heart. No, it's not something, this guy, they're brainwashing me and they're pushing me to do things and that, It's like you can actually feel happiness in your heart. And
For
that
sure.
happiness is the happiness you were looking for all your life. And now
Yeah.
you found it. Without drugs, without meat, without any stupid things.
Anything.
Without any dangerous things, or without following some pseudo...
And also, Prabhupada once was sitting at Radha Damodar and he looked at some of the devotees like Bhagavad. I remember Bhagavad Das was there and he said, "Don't think this is the first time we've been together."
Yes.
You know that famous story.
Yes.
So,
you can tell us the story in short because I don't remember.
The Damodar?
Yeah.
There is the first, this is the first batch. Guru Das, Shamasundar, Malati, and so on. They're all sitting around Rupa Goswami's Samadhi. And Prabhupada was the first batch, to India. And he looked at them and he said, speaking about Rupa Goswami, how he's being empowered by Lord Chaitanya. He's the father of the devotional service. We're Rupa Nugas, followers Rupa Goswami. And then he said, "Don't think this is the first time we've met." And then, of course, he said, "My spiritual master sent you to assist me in spreading the movement."
Very young.
So there was different times, at different time he said that. But I think that, we must have encountered devotional service to some extent because I was surrounded. I had friends that were also part of the protest movement with Bob Dylan protesting.
Yes.
But they didn't join.
They didn't have any interest.
I lost all my friends when I joined.
Yes.
They were all musicians making songs about this is bad, the black problem in the States. The Vietnam War.
But what's the solution?
There
had no solution.
Yeah, our parents are, always having conflict in the house, blah, blah, blah. But they didn't have a solution. And they didn't, it wasn't upon them to really take a dive into surrendering to this great Acharya, although many of them met Prabhupada.
Yes. Allen Ginsberg. Allen Ginsberg.
Allen Ginsberg.
And many other.
Yeah. I would say...
Well, even George Harrison at one point, he asked Srila Prabhupada, "Shall I give up the music and just come and join the temple?" Prabhupada said, "No, continue to do music.
Yeah.
You are already a devotee."
Huge.
So Prabhupada had a very broad 360
Extremely.
vision.
Yeah.
It's not like...
And he knew who was capable. Like George Harrison was still struggling with drugs,
Yeah.
and so on. And but he's a devotee, and he did great stuff, great things. I mean, I know so many devotees who just joined because of him.
Sure.
I used to listen to his music.
Yes.
And there are even people who may not be devotees, but they're very receptive. They've become vegetarians, vegans.
Yeah.
They read the Gita, but they're not in ISKCON and so on. Like my cousin, he lives in Arizona, and he loved George Harrison, My Sweet Lord. He's a vegan. So he's on his way. He's read Mahabharata, not ready to surrender.
Sure. But, Krishna gives a rope. You say, okay, whenever you're ready, I'm here.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to go through some more trouble or some more achievement in your life and thinking, okay, I have all this $1 billion and what? So next, what? I'm going to lose everything when I die. So what am I supposed to do? And then they start to think more deeply. But tell us some main milestone happening in your spiritual life. I'm sure there is some, whether you took initiation or you did some particular festival, something which was really important in your spiritual life. Of course, every day is important. I'm not saying no, but there was maybe some festival,
milestones.
Something which.
Yeah, I guess, of course, joining. It just I was searching with great anxiety. I was obsessed with subconsciously. And people say, I hope you find what you're looking for. Anyway, so I joined, and right away I joined. Like,
from one day to another.
Yeah, I just moved in the temple, Prasadam, Sunday feast. They said, you want to sleep over? Sure, sleep over. 16 rounds the next day. Went back to my house, threw all the eggs out. I was a vegetarian with her eggs, so, things like that. Gave up my girlfriend. Yeah. See you later. She joined too later on. And her friend also joined. We're in a hippie house.
Yeah.
Like that. So, of course, that was a huge landmark. Meeting Srila Prabhupada was
tell us your impression of meeting Srila Prabhupada the first time you saw him.
First time I saw Srila Prabhupada, he was extremely grave. Very grave.
In which place?
And it was Portland, Oregon, in the airport.
Okay.
The guest room, like these convention rooms they have. I was looking at him, and I could see the power of this person because I'd been chanting for 4 months. So I could see
feel
this
it.
This is the Himalayan mountains sitting there. Very great, like heavy, guru, heavy. I saw that. And of course, you awe and veneration. There's fear also. Like fear, because I've never seen a human being like this. But he was grave, and the first thing that after we offered him a plate of fruits and so on, first thing he said was, and my big books must be distributed. That was his first. So obviously he was pushing that thing.
Yes.
That point. So he knew that he was dealing with a bunch of wild puppies.
Denta like we say.
I'm sitting there taking initiation, getting initiated with maybe 50, 60 devotees from all over the place. Montreal, 15-year-old girls. She lives here, Yashomati. She initiated the same day. She was 15 or 16 with her friend.
Very young.
Yeah, they were French. They were hitchhiking around, the place. And anyway, I'm supposed to be initiated. So the names were given by Pradyumna. He chose the names depending on your first name. So my name is Christopher. But they used to call me Chris. Hey, Chris. They thought it was Christine. Okay, you're a girl. Give me a girl name. So they gave the name to Srila Prabhupada. He's sitting there chanting on your beads. He got like 50 beads to chant on. He's chanting. He's sitting there. And he's very grave at this time. He looks at it. He looks at Pradyumna. He goes, what is this nonsense? He was just like shaking. And you just see the way like a hurricane coming through the room. And Pradyumna's like this. Like, he's a Sanskrit scholar. He was the scholar. And he was just tolerating. There were so many, we just joined ex-Hibri. It was just a lot of spaced out. A lot of things that were spacing out.
I think that culturally we were different. So naturally to fit into, I don't say Vedic culture, but to say Krishna consciousness, which is, flexible, but still we were a little bit rough at that time.
Yeah.
We need to be polished. We need to be polished. And Prabhupada, if he didn't take it seriously, we thought, this way, that way, we can play around or something.
Yeah.
Like a father, sometimes he chastises you. Sometimes he gives a small slap. Nowadays, if you slap your son, they say, I am abused by my father.
Yeah, nowadays.
It's not like that. Your father loves you, and sometimes he slap you because he wants to correct you so you don't do the same mistake. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Prabhupada he was building a movement with these kids who were like
wild
monkeys.
Wild.
Basically monkeys. We'd rejected society. Most of us, they did a survey, 90% had taken LSD.
Yes.
So I remember and in America, he was extremely serious because he said, if they knew what I was up to, they'd kill me. He's going to up to him, up to his teachings, shut the slaughterhouses down, shut the nightclubs down, shut the hedonism, shut down sense gratification. That's the American thing. So he was extreme. I noticed he was very serious. When he met scholars also, very serious. And he would say, well, if you meet someone who you think knows more than you, why don't you surrender? He would just call them out right away. And these are big scholars. You call them out like that. Why don't you, if you meet someone who has more knowledge, why don't you surrender?
Well, because in the Vedic time, you see, the two gurus can meet and they can debate in front of the king and the audience or the minister. And if that one of the person would be defeated, then he will accept that person as his guru with all his disciples and surrender to him. Totally. Because this is a natural consequence
the culture,
of follow the
protocol tradition. Yeah. So Prabhupada was strong. He was very serious. Also, he knew that this movement is
unstoppable
against everything that is, on their status quo, the status quo of the whole American thing. And plus, when I joined, my relatives were not happy. Most relatives were not happy in the West.
I wanted to ask you this question. What was the reaction of your mama?
It was you joined a cult.
They brainwash you.
You joined what is this? Very suspicious. Because you live in a country where you can be successful. You can be successful. That's all they care about. Money. Material success. So here's a guy rejecting everything, sitting on the floor, eating vegetarian. You give up steaks. You gave up steak in Kentucky. So my mother, though, she was really into Jesus in a humble way. She was not a fanatic. And she would force us to go to church.
She was pious.
He was a pious woman, Portuguese, very pious. From Brazil, not Portugal. No, her father was from Portugal. Anyway, that Roman Catholic. So she was loved Jesus. And she knew I was taking drugs, ganja, all this stuff. So she was quite happy. The rest of them were brainwash. He's gone, he's done, like Hiranyakashipu, you're a waste of a son, I might as well kill you. So that was going on, and plus the media was giving so much propaganda against the small religions that were coming up, with the Swamis and so on. So there was a whole a spirit of anti-cultism, and they threw us in there, and
there were people being kidnapped, devotee being kidnapped.
I was there in LA when that happened.
And being deprogrammed.
Voting were pulled out. This girl was when I was in Los Angeles, she got pulled out and all this, and then she escaped. And it was amazing, Los Angeles Times. Girl claims kidnapped by her parents, and it's a big thing. And then when the parents were convicted, they just got a little fine, slap on the wrist, and her name was Kulapriya or something. Anyway, I remember that I was there when they. So there was quite a bit of hostility, and Prabhupada said, they're feeling the weight of the mission of the Sankirtan movement. Of course, the demons, they become very upset when the saintly people are prevailing. So we were prevailing. People are joining like anything,
Sometimes we have also experienced, I remember doing Harinam in some different parts of the world, and some people, they become very peaceful and nice, but some people, they become furious just by seeing you chant Hare Krishna, and they become angry and this, they want to kill you sometimes.
Yeah.
We don't know. They don't know also, but the reaction of that sinful life or sinful mentality, or maybe they think these people will take away my freedom. I cannot do anymore what I want. There's something subtle or spiritual which can trigger this
it does trigger
good or bad reaction on people.
Yeah. I think psychologically, Krishna talks about demons and devotees, and the demons, they become enraged.
Yes.
That someone is telling you there's a God, and you're giving your life to God, and you're glorifying God and spreading God mission. I'm angry. And some of them are in disguise as Christians or whatever, as religious people, Hindus even.
Yeah.
Were opposed in criticizing Srila Prabhupada's movement. Some of the Hindus, some of the people.
Some they say, "Oh, I know Bhagavad Gita. I'm from India. I know everything. I'm God. You're God. We are all God." In Mayavadi philosophy, like anything. You know?
Unfortunately,
still exists.
Yeah.
But tell us what makes you
milestone.
Okay. Any other milestone?
When I came to Delhi in '83, they made me the president. Gopal Krishna eventually made me president. And I discovered I had a knack for going to universities and talking like science and convincing students on personalism. A lot of the students were like born Hindu, but they're like Vivekananda,
demigods. You
can find all type. We're all God, right?
Yeah, we can find all type.
So that was a great milestone for me in New Delhi because I was running the temple. I could do what I wanted. I used to do deity worship, dress the deities, go out on preaching at all the universities. I covered all the main universities, and some people joined. Some devoted people became devotees. Basically, as soon as you say you're from Canada or the U.S. or Europe, oh, come in.
Yeah,
and then you get to
invite you.
because and this was in the 80s. There was, there was still this veneration about America and they all want to go there.
Yeah,
especially the university kids, IIT kids.
Yes.
And I did a lot of work with BI, Bhakti Srubdhamara Maharaj, Rasaraj
Bhaktivedanta Institute.
Yeah, the Bhaktivedanta Institute. I did a lot of work with them. I was involved with the first Synthesis for Science Religion convention. And I met some Nobel Award winners. So that's my kind of real exciting niche for me.
And also, I think by doing that, you really have to learn the philosophy very well, because when people ask you questions, they say, Bhagavad Gita said this, and then you say, yes, but this is what actually mean, because they misinterpret a lot. So
yeah, you have to have your, what we call your, like your storehouse of weapons ready, your arsenal.
Yes,
it's like an arsenal, you know, you got your
yes.
AK-47s, you got your cannons, you got your tanks, you got your cruise missiles, you know.
You can answer anybody.
Yeah, I mean, they come out with so much, especially I met a lot of communists in JNU. So then I had to go and research Marxism. And there's so many problems with Marxism.
Yes.
But at least they respect you, that you can speak about the philosophy of Marxism.
Sure.
And then with science, they respect you if you can explain to them the problems with evolution, Big Bang, and all this.
Absolutely.
They go, okay, this guy
knows something.
They always wonder, why I'm born in a Brahmin family. Why should I believe in God? My grandfather believes in God. Why? They're rebellious.
Yes.
And they're questioning, you know.
Yes.
So you have to come up with what they know, and then bring in like an antithesis and then a synthesis, you know.
And of course, Srila Prabhupada in some of his purpose say, yeah, we are also spiritual communists, because everything belongs to God and we use everything in the service of God.
That's the real communism.
It shows you don't serve and it counts and gives such a nice purpose. Then if you're a communist, say, oh yeah, makes sense. Why should belong to somebody, the state of this or country or that country? Because who has created everything? God. So it makes sense.
Yeah, so if you argue from a logical point of view, it's very important.
Yes.
And also you know some of the verses.
Sure.
And you also know the basic flaws in the atheism.
Sure.
Then, of course, they're okay. Because actually people are pious in India.
Yes.
And their hearts are, for many, many generations, their hearts are influenced by Sanatana Dharma. So that was definitely a highlight.
And I think people can see if you are really sincere, or you're just speaking from your mind. Because if you speak from the heart, you say, how can I take this person a little one step ahead and make him understand something closer to Krishna?
That's
and
very important.
They can perceive that.
Very
because
important
Krishna
point.
is in the heart of all living entity.
That's true.
And if you have an ego, then you want to smash them, then they feel like, nah, this guy is not a sadhu, Sometimes in India, when we do book distribution, we met persons start to say all kind of things. They just want to test you, how you are really a sadhu, tolerant, and you really know the philosophy, or you're just, And then they say, oh, no, I was just testing you.
Yeah, if they feel any kind of ego, then you lost the battle.
Then you might be
Like your point is from the heart. Like when we speak, like you may know a lot of slokas. Some people are good at that and so on. But unless you speak from your heart, that you've been praying to Krishna, you've been begging Prabhupada, like, give me some mercy so I can help someone. Unless it comes from a place from the heart,
it has no effect.
People like they know, oh, this guy's, he's
just another guy.
He's on the ego platform or something. He's trying to convince me.
Absolutely.
It's got to be from the heart, and that's more important than anything else. Sometimes, I didn't get a PhD or even a master's, but they appreciate that I'm going door to door, and I'm speaking like, look, don't give up your culture, like it's very important what you have. Don't just absorb all this Western stuff because you're going to be a big engineer. So, you need a balance. You need both tracks,
Kripanidhi Prabhu, I know that you have been living in Mayapur for the last few years, I think. And I want to know, what is the reason that attract you to come back to the original source? Mayapur is the place where Lord Chaitanya was born and performed his pastimes, and thousands and millions of people come now with the opening of the temple. What motivates you to come to Mayapur? I'm sure you were traveling around the world, you're doing preaching, you're temple president, you did so many nice services. What at one point in your life you thought, I must go to Mayapur?
Well, actually, I was just going along in my life and doing preaching and so on, and working in the West because it's very expensive. But then my daughter got married here to a Jayapataka Maharaj disciple. And so we came. And then when I left in the 80s,
there was nothing here in the 80s.
And then we realized that we're getting old, and I saw a lot of potential here. Of course, Lord Chaitanya's mercy is like magnified in the Holy Dham. If you want to take advantage of the Holy Dham, you get a lot of mercy here. And I knew that. I knew like Lord Chaitanya is more merciful than Krishna.
Absolutely.
You have to admit it.
Yes.
And you can get a lot of mercy here if you dive in. You can also fall in Maya here for sure.
Sure.
But I was interested in doing some preaching here. Book distribution is what I like. And preaching to kids, young people. And so I just suggested to my wife, like, why don't we try Mayapur, like go live in Mayapur,
And she said, what? No, Mayapur, mosquitoes, snakes, I'm scared, this, that, where are you taking me?
She loved she just loved India.
Amazing.
We would go walking in Navadvip and she'd be like ski-daddling off to see some guy cooking some puris or something or some, it's like she was just completely fascinated by the Indian way. It's just so far out.
You're very fortunate.
So anyway, that's
nice.
I made a decision. We made a decision, and we sold everything and moved here. And we love Mayapur.
Yes.
Special mercy from Madhava. Special mercy from Panchatattva.
Of course.
You just got to take the mercy.
Absolutely.
You grab it. There's a lot of mercy here, a lot of mercy, and you can make a lot of spiritual advancement. Of course, we know that in America, Canada, probably in Western Europe, things are slow, things are like we're just limping along.
Yeah.
It's not like the Prabhupada days. So it's a little difficult there, although I did keep preaching. I kept my preaching programs going, college preaching, street preaching, keeps you going, keeps you above the water. You can't give up,
Yeah.
So, but it was challenging because I had to work because you the cost of living and
you're
from Italy. Italy is expensive.
It's impossible.
Crazy.
You have to work.
Rasaraj Prabhu from Italy said Canada's cheaper.
It's true.
Than Italy,
Yeah.
So that was definitely a very prohibitive thing in the West is like you got to work, pay the bills, and then do some preaching, squeeze in some preaching.
Which means, when
struggle.
you work 8 hours a day, it sucks your energy. What is left to preach is very less.
Yeah.
Plus you're tired and you want to recoup and you want to relax. You may be able to chant 16 rounds every day if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's very difficult to even do that.
Yeah.
And Maya is very thick. You can cut it with a knife. And so Mayapur is different. You wake up in the morning, you hear the birds, and you can hear the Mongol arty from some temple nearby, the bell, bam, 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 bam. So you cannot go so much far in Maya, even if you want to.
You're.
And the mercy of the Lord is palpable. You can feel it. If you are connected in your heart to follow the mission which Srila Prabhupada gives us, which is to distribute the mercy of Lord Chaitanya through Nityananda. And then I know you're doing book distribution every day, and I see your cart is very beautiful when it's open, and a lot of people are attracted to the Western white elephant. You're not white anymore. I'm not white anymore, but I know you put some white elephant there, some white devotee, and people come and say, "Hey, where you come from? What you doing?" Right? That is always the beginning, and then people buy the books. And that is the mission of Lord Chaitanya, to distribute, the mercy unlimited, without any condition, without any things. So, how do you see your future now? How would you continue? How you see the growth of Mayapur? Prabhupada say 50,000 people will live here. Now we have maybe 10,000 devotees right now.
10,000, yeah.
We have between the Bengali and foreign, or Indian and foreign. So it's still a lot of people moving in. I see a lot of building going up everywhere.
Yeah.
And so how you see the future of Mayapur? How we can inspire more people to come and perform devotional service?
I think that, we're in the embryonic stage of Krishna consciousness, 50, 60, 70 years old at the most.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're babies. It's a baby movement, a toddler, you can say.
Yeah.
But as we become pure and we develop our love for Krishna, Lord Chaitanya is giving us this prema bhakti.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the future.
Yes.
I think that some devotees are going to become lovers of God.
Absolutely.
Powerful devotees. We're going to attract a lot of people from around the world to become devotees. This is going to be like Rome. It's going to be like Jerusalem. It's going to be like Mecca.
Absolutely.
Like you've been when they go to Mecca every year.
Oh yeah, I see the videos.
It's crazy.
Of thousands of millions of people.
And a beautiful building, everything clean. It's like this is their place. This is their center for the Islam. Or you go to Jerusalem or Rome. I know lots of people in the
Every
US.
25 years, they open one special door. They say, if you go through the door, you go in paradise. I went twice.
You went twice. Okay.
My uncle took me. Guarantee. I don't know about that, but Krishna. But there's a lot of people visiting the Vatican. And of course, there's beautiful statue carved. There is a lot of painting by Raffaello, all these famous artists, Leonardo da Vinci, and all these people. Michelangelo, and all these things. People go there and say, "Wow."
Yeah, something's going on.
Yeah.
So
but the preaching of the Pope is still not up to the level which we. No, for us, it's like, what are you saying? I'm not disrespect the Pope Francis
of course
or all the priests.
They have a good
Number
intention.
one, you don't find any more Italian priests preaching in Italy. They're all foreigners.
They're all from Poland.
Yeah, Poland or Brazil,
or
Argentina. South America, Argentina, somewhere. What happened to all the priests? I asked. He said, no, Italians want to become priests. I said, why? Because we say, do what we say, don't do what we do.
Exactly.
And so that means, if you're preaching, you should be also exemplary.
The example.
Achar and prachar means, you actually live the preaching you do.
Right.
But how can you do that if you smoke cigarette, you drink wine, you eat meat?
Yeah.
Now, what is the next thing? Is that you want to do some illicit activity.
Right.
It's very difficult to control our senses and our mind.
Totally.
For devotee, us, who are following this principle for many, many years, even still, is difficult for some people. But because to control the mind is very difficult.
Mind is a great enemy, more than we think.
For these people, they have double life, and people can see that.
Of course, they see it. They lost interest.
When the priest used to come and preach in our school, used to smoke cigarettes, said, "You children don't smoke. It's not good for you." And I said, "What? What are you saying? When I grow up, I can smoke because."
Because I'm an adult.
Okay. If you say it's no good, well, you're smoking.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make sense,
Yes.
And whenever you ask anything, okay, if you say, Jesus say, I'm the Son of God, so who is the Father?
They didn't have answers for me.
No, they have no answer. They say, oh, you should have faith. I say, I have faith.
Faith? Okay, I got faith.
I got faith. But
try to explain to me.
Who is it? What is it? No.
This is the problem that like these religions, even Prabhupada has transcended Hinduism. I mean, Hinduism's so hodgepodge.
Yeah.
Also, so this is a transcendental movement. It's meant to create a revolution in the world's misdirected civilization. It's a famous verse,
And this is the famous pill?
Famous pill. So we have to have faith.
Thanks.
We know Srila Prabhupada is such a Bhagavad like Narottam Das Thakur and all these great, great personalities. He is the one. And it's predicted, so it's going to happen. You just hold on to the boat. Stay in the boat. Hold on to Prabhupada's dhoti. Just don't go anywhere.
Read Prabhupada books, chant Vision, follow the principle. Prabhupada say, chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 rag. I'll take you back to God. That's his promise.
Yeah.
So if we do that, and if we are engaged in preaching the mission of Lord Chaitanya, then we'll be successful. Even though we are not maybe 100% perfect or whatever it is, maybe we have not developed love of God. I don't see any hair stand on me when I hear the kirtan unless it's very cold or things like that.
But it's there.
But you can feel
it's on the horizon.
Protection. You can feel the protection of the Lord.
Of course, you can experience. We're still tasting some prema when we chant Hare Krishna.
Absolutely.
When we start dancing in ecstasy. That's a little drop of prema from Lord Chaitanya. We're not artificially dancing.
No.
You feel the ecstasy, the bliss. You feel the rain of mercy coming on you, just like rain.
Yes.
It's real if you follow properly.
Yes.
It's like you have a combination to a safe. There's 10 numbers. If you miss one number, it's like if you eat meat, you're not going to get the mercy. So these religions, the world religions, they're sputtering out. But this Sankirtan movement is going to keep growing and growing, mushrooming. It's going to mushroom. It's God himself predicted. So why don't we have some faith that it's going to happen? And don't look at all the little anomalies and all the issues.
There will be imperfection everywhere. Some people can see the moon in the night and say, but there is some black spot. So what's the point? I mean, you can be like honeybee or you can be like a fly.
Like a fly.
And then it's your choice. But I'm sure that the whole world is getting inspiration from Srila Prabhupada books. And we get association by reading Srila Prabhupada books, even though we have never met some of us who are after you. We may have not met Srila Prabhupada personally, but we can feel the heaviness and the message is giving us is pure. It's not compromise. It's not try wishy-washy. It's not trying to get some followers. It's not try to nothing. He never compromised on anything. And that is something very powerful.
His books are extremely powerful. I mean, and when I was hearing him, every time at the end of his class, he'd say, if they touch my books, they don't have to read them. If they touch my books, they'll change. Their lives will change. These are powerful books, very powerful. It's Krishna. Prabhupada used to say, you're traveling in a van, no deities. Devotees were criticizing, what are they eating, boga? Prabhupada said, no, offer the boga to my book. Book is Lord Krishna, like that. So these are they're not ordinary, mundane religious books. They're powerful things. Change people's lives. You're right.
Yes.
Every single word is spoken by Krishna through Prabhupada.
He's the via medium, transparent via
medium.
Medium.
He's a pen, and he said Krishna wrote these books.
Yes.
I mean, he's being humble, but it's an empowered.
Absolutely.
This literature is empowered.
Kripanidhi Prabhu, tell me how important it is for us, Krishna conscious, to have a friend in Krishna consciousness who can help us, or can inspire us, or can see we're making something wrong, or we're going off, or whatever. Everybody has some friend. Do you have any friend in Krishna conscious?
In Mayapur, I have one god brother that's just, we're friendly and stuff.
Is it important?
It's very important. You have to be inspired and encourage each other. It's important. It's also important, I was thinking there should be a men's club here, like a men's meeting club where you can express your struggles.
Yes.
And it can be confidential. because devotees have struggles. I've seen a lot of my godbrothers leave the movement for various reasons. Maybe they fell down and they feel guilty and they don't, they can't come back. Prabhupada was like, this sannyasi fell down in Australia. Everyone broadcasted it, all the leaders. Prabhupada said, how can he come back now? No. So we need these devotees who we can confide in. That's Dadati Pratigrinati Goyamakiti Prichati. Like it's Rupa Goswami saying. So yeah, definitely friends. I have a friend who used to live in the States. He's an engineer. He's Bengali, and he works with me on the book table.
Nice.
And we're very close. And I help him. He helps me.
Nice.
And we exchange stuff, There's a mood, a feeling there. It's suck your ass, basically. It's like suck your ass. You need to have a friend who you can relate with and feel like this person
can understand me
I
without
like
judgment. He can
without
give me
judge,
advice.
and he's your well-wisher.
Right.
There's got to be some well-wishers.
Right.
We also have to see that our leaders are our well-wishers.
Of course.
And that don't criticize the leaders, They've been put there by Krishna.
Yes.
That's their karma. And we have to always hold them with great respect and affection. Someone's going to be a leader. And if it's not me, well, so be it,
Why not?
And there's been a lot of this envy. I guess we have to become free from the envy. Yeah.
About the leader, I want to ask you, because sometimes they tell me, but my Guru Maharaj is not here, he's traveling, I see him only once in a year. So some of them feel discouraged. So how can we inspire them?
Yeah, I think this is a issue that needs to be addressed. I think that if someone's qualified, they're following the principles, they can be vetted properly, more to have a guru who has like a couple thousand disciples he can care for. When it gets into the thousands, then maybe the Diksha Guru should say, okay, this person can be your Shiksha Guru, give you some guidance and advice.
Yes.
And take his direction.
Yes.
One of the problems was, like, I've made devotees in the past, they take initiation and then they
disappear because
see you
they
later.
take them somewhere. Yeah.
And then I feel like, oh, okay, I brought them to the movement, Vartmana Pradarshaka Guru.
Yeah.
They got initiated, and then they're totally 100% under the dictatorship or whatever. So that's an issue that should definitely be discussed by the GBCs.
Right.
And if a guru has thousands and thousands of disciples, it would be incumbent upon him to say, okay, there's this devotee that you're working under. He's my godbrother. You take some direction from him. Sure. If he tells you, like, he needs you to go with him on the university campus, don't say, no, I want him to do this. That creates a kind of hard feelings and hurt feelings. And then,
Also, sometimes people can play this. It's like, the children play with the mother and father. Mama say this. Oh, you should say that. And go to the mother and say, Daddy said this. I can go? Okay, you go. Whatever.
Yes.
So then it's a bit... I feel it's very important that everybody has a friend or some supervisor, some guide, somebody who can look up to him and say, okay, if you go this way, maybe it's better for you. I'm here to help you, and, without any... Okay, so nice talking to you, Kripanidhi Prabhu. I'm sure we can talk here for many, many hours, but our time is limited. So give a message to the people who are listening today to our podcast, an inspirational message, because our radio, it's inspirational, is a point to your heart. So people listen to our radio all over the world. So
people living all over
the world, just through the phone.
Over the world.
All over the world, they listen to Radio Mayapur. We have music 24 hours going on, and we have podcasts whenever you want to listen to podcasts. So,
well, for me, I try to practice this verse, Trinadapi Sunichana, tolerance means non-envy as well. There's going to be attacks from Maya in so many ways. She has so many weapons. So we have to keep our head down. We have to put our faith that Srila Prabhupada, whatever's happening, we have this riding spiritual acharya. So many things may happen in our movement. It's a new movement. Hang on to Srila Prabhupada. The other thing is, because you've been in the movement 20, 30 years, don't take your foot off the gas pedal. Oh yeah, bring me prasadam. I'm 30 years. I got a position now. No, that's not what we want.
That's not good.
Those things are obstacles from getting Krishna's glance. If you want Krishna's glance, you can't want a special devotee. I have a position. Don't worry about that. So and also, like, if you're sometimes you're a little despondent, discouraged, keep trying, keep going, keep pushing, because Krishna opens up the window when he opens up the window, and you get some light. Krishna don't demand from Krishna. When it's ready, Krishna will open up and say, here's a little mercy. We have to expect the mercy of the Lord, and don't ever just put it on cruise control. Always try to serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya through your gurus, different gurus that we have, our mentors,
Yes.
Keep going, keep pushing. And a lot of us, of course, we slip. You're climbing up a mountain, you're going to slip.
Sure.
Just pick yourself up, keep going. You're not perfect. You're coming out of the material world. I'm not perfect. I'm going to slip. Got problems. Work on it. That's all. Confide in people and keep going, keep pushing. And Krishna will help you if you're sincere, sincerity from your heart. Yeah, I'm going to be a devotee. Don't be distracted. The mind's going to tell you this and that. Look at these guys. Look at this person. Forget about it. Oh, you can't. Even your mind's going to tell you, you can't be a devotee. Who are you? Look at you. You're so far, The mind's always attacking.
Yeah.
Good sadhana is important. Good rounds are important. And trying to give to others is very empowering. If you try to give the holy name, prasadam, whatever books, these different things that Prabhupada gave us to do, very important. Building, this beautiful temple here. These are things, this is preaching. It's all preaching tools. We got lots of, Prabhupada's giving us an arsenal of weapons. Why don't we use them? Pick up the M16
and go.
Pick up the long range. Be a sniper.
Thank you so much, Kripanidhi.
Yes, Prabhu.
I'm
Thank
very
you.
inspired by you because you came here, and you didn't go to the authority and say, give me some service, something to do, but you invented the service yourself. You built yourself a cart, and you put the book, and you had a vision, you had a dream, and you got the books, and you're there, and then you're doing the service. You don't have to wait for somebody to give you the service. You invented it yourself. This is very inspiring. Thank you so much for coming
Prabhuji.
today
Thank
to
you.
our radio studio, and I'm sure we'll meet again. And Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Sridham Mayapur.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
You're listening to Radio Mayapur with the best devotional, meditation, kirtan music, and inspirational podcast. This is Radio Mayapur.